We've come to a family's place in the inner city in Perth under Katagarup, Kings Park, and they're a family that's suffering some intrusion of a spiritual nature and force that's intruded on the family here and causing upset and grief for the little girl. She's 3 years old, the mother and the father, and had come into Dumbartung today to ask us to come up to the flat in which they live and to do a smoking ceremony to have the spirit that's causing this unrest to muddy up and bullock her out of here and leave this family alone. An important part of Bibbulmun culture, Aboriginal culture, is the spirituality that's connected to our customs and our law. And that spiritual world in Noongar country, in Bibbulmun country, centres on a number of spiritual entities like the Jarnik, the Bulyats, the Woodachis, and this part of our culture and who we are as Aboriginal people. That's the spirit in which colonialism and forced occupation could never kill in terms of who we are. And in this contemporary world as Aboriginal people, our families and our people come in contact with that world, and at times if we don't have or they don't have the direct access to elders who understand that part of our culture and live by that part of our culture, that haven't been introduced and haven't accepted into their own mind and belief system other religions such as Christianity or the Muslim faith, but still believe in that ancient ways of our old people. We come across our people who are at times suffering and who have been in connection with that spiritual world. And in days gone, in the old days, of course our old people would have dealt with that in a very profound way, because Aboriginal people's lives were 90% spiritual. So today, when we have families come into Dumbartung and we have individuals to whom are experiencing these types of contacts and this type of intrusion into their family and into their homes and location and place, that's when Dumbartung is asked whether we can help move and shift that entity. I think that's important to understand that in this, the modern world, in the year 2024, there's still people to whom, like Dumbartung, are going into the families. And we're not going in there in hours that are, got other eyes. So in other words, it's only just those that are experiencing these problems and issues and those that are dealing with it. So it's only us and the family. And therefore, there's no money exchange. It's an absolute non-commercial service in which Dumbartung provides. And again, being part of our culture, it's a real part that has come somehow and merged from that really ancient way in which our old people lived, right through to now, as you can see in the modern cities right around the country, this issue and business still needs to be dealt with. And I think it's important because that's our connection to our budja, our land, through that spiritual world. But of course, now that we've lost so much of our cultural customary practice here, particularly in the southwest, we can only do this cleansing the best way that we have, that we know that we can help our people again in this modern time. These are the bushes that are used to cleanse areas and to ensure that the lives of our mob, the Bibbulmun people, are kept safe and protected from entities and spiritual encounters in which are frightening them. We never go into a location where there's any drugs or alcohol. We go in when people are very clear of mind, not vague in any way, and again, that's really important. We talk to the mother and the fathers of the young ones, and we talk to the adults in the family, And then what we do is we basically ask the family to leave the location, to leave their house, just to go outside. We then talk direct to the darkness that's in the location. In other words, we turn all lights off and create that complete darkness. And you look for things that we know of that are part of that world inside that location. We take the feathers, we put the oils and the fats through it, we put it again outside the facility. Then we start to burn the flora, which is again banksias, the smoke bush, the pelka bush, and paper bark to get the smoke going, and of course eucalypt and or marry green leaves over that, so the smoke is quite dense. And I think it's important to get it dense, because the more dense the smoke, the more, of course, the stronger the cleansing. The karak feather is the female feather of the firebringer. And what we use the feather for, I use it for my own personal protection, and I always leave the feather of this particular bird with the family. It's a story that's prominent for Bibbulmun people, and it's the story of the firebringer and how we as people access fire. Leaving the feather of protection with the family and talking to them about the bird and the karak and the firebringer, I think is an important part of them reconnecting with the Aboriginal identity within their selves and culture in order to overcome these types of experiences that people face. And that's why I think it's important for people to understand that this is still happening in the modern, contemporary, Australia, and in cities like Perth that have been built on the destruction of land through mining. The destruction of land means the destruction of culture. So the more you destroy culture, the more restless that spiritual world becomes, and the more it connects with living people in terms of our communities and our families in this modern time.
Wanna go out, go.